When Kelsey Mitchell's body completely gave out in Game 5 of the playoffs, the arena went silent. Her legs turned to stone beneath her, and her body dropped into a teammate's arms like a puppet with its strings cut. Fans thought it was exhaustion or maybe a cramp, but what unfolded next was far more terrifying. Her legs went completely numb, her feet lifeless. And even as the trainers rushed in with a stretcher, Mitchell shook her head and refused to leave the court that way. She wasn't going out lying down, not after everything she'd fought for. Her body was shutting down, her blood flow collapsing. And still she insisted on walking well, being carried off that floor on her own terms. And in that moment, every person in the arena realized something deeper was happening. This wasn't just about pain tolerance. This was about pride, identity, what it truly costs to give everything for the game you love. 2 days later, Kelsey Mitchell sat before reporters and revealed the shocking truth. Doctors diagnosed her with rhabdomyolysis, a severe condition where muscle tissue breaks down so violently it releases proteins into the bloodstream, threatening kidney failure and total muscle collapse. It's the kind of thing you'd expect from extreme marathoners or soldiers, not a basketball player. She described how it started with what she thought were period cramps, something every female athlete pushes through without complaint. But within minutes, her entire body betrayed her. Her muscles locked, her brain commands went unanswered, and she lost all control. Still, she refused the stretcher, telling staff, "No way in hell am I leaving that court like that." No, that wasn't vanity. It was defiance. It was a statement that, even in her weakest moment, she would control her own narrative. Behind that moment was a perfect storm of exhaustion. Mitchell explained how the schedule had pushed them to the brink, flying across states between playoff games. Minimal rest, endless preparation. The Fever were never supposed to make it that far, and the grind had taken its toll. For Kelsey, this was her first postseason appearance in years of trying. She wasn't about to let fatigue rob her of the moment she'd earned. That decision to keep playing despite the red flags nearly cost her everything. But when she talked about it later, there was no regret. Her voice cracked with emotion as she said she'd do it all again. Not because she wanted to suffer, but because that's how much it meant to her. To be there for her team. To give every ounce of herself for something bigger. The details she revealed paint a haunting picture of what athletes endure behind the bright lights. The human body isn't designed to handle that kind of stress. Constant travel, high-intensity games, minimal recovery. Yet these women are expected to push through every barrier. Mitchell's condition are rare and life-threatening. Breakdown of muscle fibers shows how thin the line is between greatness and collapse. When she was carried off, her feet dangling, her body unresponsive, nobody knew if she'd ever play again. But even then, her mind was on her teammates, not herself. While she lay on the court, Aaliyah Boston prayed over her. Lexi Hall held her hand. Bree Turner whispered reassurance over and over, "You'll move again. You'll move again." Those moments weren't captured by cameras. They were lived in the space between panic and hope, sisterhood forged in shared struggle. When Mitchell recounted that scene, she called it the radiation of love. It was raw, real, and powerful. These women weren't just teammates. They were family, and when the Fever had to finish that game without her, they didn't crumble. They rose. Odyssey Sims brought the fire. Hull delivered when it mattered. Even as elimination loomed, the Fever refused to go quietly. That's what made Mitchell proud, is not the points or the highlight plays, but the heart they showed. This was a team that had clawed their way into relevance, defied every expectation, and stood tall even when their bodies began to break. Part of that journey, Mitchell admitted, was tied to the loss of Caitlin Clark earlier in the season. The team had already been forced to adapt when Clark went down with injuries. Everyone had to evolve, to take on new roles. Mitchell's drive to push beyond pain wasn't just about herself. It was about setting the tone. It's about proving that no matter who was missing, the Fever would fight. That's the kind of leadership that doesn't make headlines, but defines legacies. Medically, what happened to Mitchell is both terrifying and fascinating. Rhabdomyolysis causes the muscles to literally dissolve from overuse or trauma. The proteins flood the bloodstream, clogging the kidneys and leading to potential failure. Some athletes never recover full function. That Mitchell could wiggle her toes minutes later, that she regained circulation, is a miracle. But even knowing that, she said she wouldn't change a thing. "I played until my wheels fell off," she said with a quiet smile. For her, that was the price of greatness. It raises uncomfortable questions for the league and for fans. How far should athletes be pushed? How much is too much? The WNBA's schedule is notoriously unforgiving. Minimal rest days, long flights, back-to-back games. Add the emotional weight of fighting for recognition in a league still battling for mainstream respect. And the strain compounds. Mitchell's story is a warning that even the strongest can break when systems push too hard for too long. Yet her determination to downplay the severity to frame it as part of the grind shows how deeply ingrained that warrior mentality is in professional sports. Her coach, Stephanie White, became a silent part of the conversation too. Mitchell laughed during the press conference, saying she didn't blame Steph for all the extra practices. But beneath that laughter was a subtle acknowledgement that something has to change. That load management, recovery, and player safety aren't luxuries, they're necessities. Because for every Kelsey Mitchell who gets back up, there might be another who doesn't. Still, what makes her story unforgettable isn't the medical diagnosis or the drama, it's the humanity. Watching your body fail in front of thousands is one of the most vulnerable experiences imaginable. But Mitchell turned that pain into purpose. Her gratitude for the trainers, for her teammates, for the doctors who guided her through recovery shined brighter than any bitterness. And when she talked about doing life with her Team 5, 6 months of blood, sweat, and tears, it was clear this wasn't just basketball anymore. It was family. Kelsey Mitchell's collapse wasn't just a scary scene from a playoff game. It was a mirror held up to every athlete, every fan, every coach who's ever said push through it. Because sometimes pushing through means stepping into something irreversible. And yet, that's what makes these moments unforgettable, the human spirit's refusal to quit. Even when the body begs for mercy, as the fever looked to the future, Mitchell's story will be more than just a footnote. It'll be a rallying cry, a reminder of how much this team has already overcome and how much more they still have to prove. Because when you've already played through hell, there's nothing left to fear. So now, it's your turn. What do you think was Kelsey Mitchell's decision to keep going heroic or reckless? Should leagues be doing more to protect players from themselves? Or is that unshakable drive what separates champions from the rest? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you believe stories like this deserve to be heard, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Because we're not done uncovering the truth behind the moments that define the game, we're just getting started.